In all the lower mainland, there were very few places that evoked the feeling of nostalgia quite as strongly as Imperial Hobbies. And for good reason. It's been around for over 35 years now, and still going strong. For many young hobbyists, myself included, it was probably one of the first shops they ever set foot in. And it's all thanks to one man, Francis Munroe. In 1986, he decided to change gears completely to open his own hobby shop. This is his story. Imperial Hobbies was officially unleashed on the world in 1986 and quickly became a hotspot for an assortment of customers ranging from comic book collectors, model builders, role-playing enthusiasts, and everything in between. And it was all born out of an impending recession and not wanting to leave his fate in the hands of others.
We decided that I wanted to be my own boss, so we sat down with my wife, had a talk that I think that me starting my own business was probably the better thing to do. That way I got to decide who and what was going to go on in my own life. So that kind of started up everything, and we went from there.
Francis started off with a modest loan of $20,000 and the dream to start making profit after only 2 years, which he was successful in achieving. And while the store was noticeably small, it was jam-packed with tons of material. With an enthusiastic team behind him, word started getting out about the hobby shop and instantly became known for its larger-than-life characters. In fact, creativity would become a staple of the Imperial Hobby creed. Local artists would submit tribute pieces to the staff, which can still be seen at the store to this very day, while others would lend their creative talents in other ways, such as marketing and promotion, just to try and help and get the word out about this shop. Some took it even a step further, running a mini magazine dubbed the Imperial Herald, which had a successful run from 1999 to late 2003, which talked about all the hottest things for gamers and nerds alike, and Francis was even a guest author. It was a really unique time, and there was a lot of growth happening.
Like I said, I really liked the store. There was lots of pluses and minuses about it, but overall it was a store that had earned a good reputation with the customers, and through day one, the store every year, I would have said generally always, sometimes only minor, but also always every year generally increased in its sales.
It really was the golden era for the Anderson store, and the team were constantly growing, getting stronger, until the lease was up and Francis decided to seek his fortunes elsewhere.
Like anything, we weren't getting along with the management because they were looking for a lot more rent, and of course we weren't willing to pay as much as they wanted. So we came to an agreement that I would move out, and I found a place that I really liked on number 3 Road.
It had been 10 years on Anderson, and now it was time for some new change. With the help of all their customers and staff, they managed to load all their merchandise into the new location, which, well, let's face it, is a lot bigger. I mean, look at that. It's all spread out so nicely, it's all neat and organized. Mwah! What an improvement. And for most people in my age group, the number 3 store was probably the one that stood out the clearest. And it's also the store that Francis would acquire most of the long-term employees that he currently has today. It happens to be the store where a bright-eyed teenager first walked into and began his lifelong dream of working in a hobby shop. That young man was Chris Dennis. Chris had the aspiration and drive to become a creative soul, which is what a lot of people do know him as, either from his modeling technique or from handcrafting beautiful costumes that can still be seen at the store to this very day. Only a few years later, they would acquire the gentle giant known only as Alex, who would go on to become an incredible modeler and a huge fan of bunny rabbit photography. Shortly after this, a young comic book and card-slinging gal named Stephanie would march through the front doors and quickly establish an underground black market for comic books and Magic the Gathering alike. So far, the police have not been able to shut her down. But enough about this unholy trinity we call upper management. Let's go back to Mr. Munroe and Imperial Hobbies. Now, the store was getting constant attention at this point from local media outlets and community programs. Imperial was known for its charity work and having its finger on the pulse for what the youth were really into. It was around this time that Francis even reached out to the general public to create a brand new logo for the store. While the contest ran, many entries were submitted, but they eventually decided on the now iconic black and white Griffin logo. For some reason, my stick figure one got rejected, but that's okay, I don't hold a grudge. It was once again the golden era at Imperial Hobbies, but like Rome, it soon fell. Okay, that might be a little overdramatic, but Imperial Hobbies was now facing a new problem.
We did gain the SkyTrain, which was a great thing, but unfortunately it was also the demise of Imperial Hobbies, as some corporation had bought the land and then kicked us out of the number 3 location.
To add insult to injury, this is what the number 3 location looks like. They haven't developed it in 5 years. Oh well. Silver lining was Imperial Hobbies got an even bigger store, almost twice the size, at their new location and Russ Baker Way. Once again, with the help of customers and staff alike, Francis and his team were able to haul all of their stock to the new location, with the immediate size difference becoming very apparent. Stock could now be laid out in new patterns, no longer clustered together, but getting sections of their own for the customers to peruse through. And while the loss of the SkyTrain did mean slightly less foot traffic, they did still have a die-hard amount of fans that were more than willing to make the extra 5-minute trek over to the new location and continue to show their love and support. Not only that, the gaming communities began to explode at the new location, hosting after-hour gaming for board games, tabletop wars, Magic the Gathering, role-playing, and much, much more. At the height and pre-COVID, most of the groups had over 20 members apiece. And that's where our story is going to end. Imperial Hobbies is in a great location. It's got a wonderful staff, and our customers are still some of the best in the industry. And once again, it was all thanks to one man, Francis Munroe, who had a dream, the passion, and the drive to see it through. And he just really needed a place where he could play with his toys without annoying his wife.